morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. Perspectives this morning will be on the pension board. And here we'll be discussing with the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Pension Bureau. And that's talking about Professor Salamatu. She'll be telling us about how to get your benefit after retirement. And of course, we do know that pension scheme in Kaduna State has been, reformed, so to say, and some people just do not know how to go about getting their pension, their benefits after retirement. So we'll be looking at the difference between the new pension scheme and the old one. We'll also be looking at, retired workers, in the state, and how much outstanding pension benefit has this administration met. All of these will come in the program Perspectives this morning with Professor Salamatu, the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Pension Bureau. What is it that you need to know and about the pension scheme in Kaduna, and just what touches have been put on the scheme? All of these will come your way any moment from now. My guest, Professor Salamatu, will join me in the studios. But before then, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Oh, welcome back. We're still expecting our guests to be in the studios with us. But before then, let's talk about the pension administration in Kaduna State. We do know that some people have had issues with how the scheme is been, taken out to the people. We've had people say that after retirement, it's difficult to get the gratuity, and some have said that the process of doing all of this is so cumbersome again, and we've had situations where pensioners have to come from very far on verification. All of these, have been issues on the pension administration in Kaduna State. But I'm sure that Professor Salamatu, our guest on the program, the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Pension Bureau, would put a light to all of that for us, for people to get, clear understanding of how this has been done. And again, the focus or trust of this program this morning would be on how to get your benefit after retirement, so that close to retirement, people should start planning, and people should start looking at ways to go about making it easy for them to, get their benefits. All of these we'll be looking at on the program this morning. It's Perspectives, and this program is sponsored by Kaduna State government. And so, any moment from now, I've had word with her that she's, close to the studios. Will be here with us any moment from now. So, just to do a feeler with music before our guests will come in. Welcome back. Is the program Perspectives this morning, and glad to announce that our guest is seated here with me, and we're just taking off on the program. And today, like I told you earlier, I said it will be about how to get your benefit after retirement. And our guest this morning, Professor Salamatu Isa, the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Pension Bureau, with us this morning. Glad to have you here with us once again.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you. Well, let's just go straight to it. That's about how to get your benefits after retirement. That's the thrust of it this morning.
Okay. Thank you very much. Getting benefit is an easy process, especially when the retiree has all the necessary documents that we need. For the old DBS, usually what we request is they come with retirement letter of appointment, especially first appointment, and then pensionable appointment, because it's one thing, the only person that is qualified to be called a pensioner is someone who has put in minimum of 10 years and a maximum of 35 years. So we use the length of service as part of consideration for the process. And also the bank details also matters, where we have the VBN, the account name, the account number, any other relevant detail for the bank. It is important for a retiree to give us the bank details because the payment is it's an e-payment. So once your bank detail is complete, you usually get your pension, your gratuity. Sometimes some retirees give us account that has been closed for many years, and we usually tell them when they come for physical verification, because you need to come physically for us to know that yes, you are the pensioner that we are going to pay the gratuity to. And especially where we have retirees that have died on the process after retirement, we also need to see the next of kin physically, so that we collect relevant documents, their data of administration, the estate account, their passport, or any document for identity verification. We do that, so that in future they shouldn't come back to say they were not the one that collected such payment. So the payment is e-payment. We don't make cash payment like before. So all this necessary information is significant. And also for the CPS, usually when you retire, we expect you that the first point of being part of having an RSA account is for you to register with the PFA. But after that process, when you're about retiring, usually minimum of 3 months is enough to give us notification of retirement, and a maximum of 6 months, so that before you retire, that complete process is done within these 3 months or within the 6 months. So you notify us you're about retiring, even though we have the data that you're about retiring, because at the point of registering as an employer of Kaduna State, you give us your date of birth, and then we keep on tracking you for the retirement process. So either your MDA will send us the retirement notice, or the individual himself, to be on the safe side, will also send us a retirement notification. Then the head of service also send us one. So we track you down, and then we send that notification to the PFA, and even tell the individual to visit the PFA. Now, when you make I will call it last visit to the PFA, because at that point in time, your details are going to be verified again. In case in the process of your service here you have changed your account number, or you have moved from the location initially that you put in your documentation, and many other things, so that they can update your information. And then after that, then you be on the queue. Usually you are on the queue because there are people that have retired before you, so you have to be on that queue. And immediately they finish with their verification, they send the list of those that have verified to the pension bureau. And then when we get that list, then we go into the database of the accrued right. You remember we talked about the accrued right, which is the debt that the state government is paying all those pensioners. So we go into that database and see what was your accrued right. And then we get the number, and then we send it back to the PFE. So at the point when they're about paying you, we have to send that amount to them, and then they complement it with what you have saved from 2017, and then you are paid. So, but the challenges we usually have with the retiree in this process of the PFA's verification is that sometimes they give names that the sequential of the arrangement will change, and then they might not necessarily go back to them and say that I have changed my name or I have married. And so at the point of verification, that last verification, if you were single when you came into the service and now you are married, you're supposed to bring all documents that are related to that change of name, so that they will keep that record. Because I may be Salamatu Isa when I'm coming into the service, but towards the middle of my service, possibly I'm Salamatu Tijani. And during the registration process with the PFA, they don't have that Salamatu Tijani. So that's why sometimes the retiree has the right to go back to the PFA. Anything that has his document, they will change his documentation in the process of before his retirement. He must go back and submit that particular document, because no submission of such document may actually delay the payment, because the PFA will have to say they must get the necessary information that have changed your name or whatever has, or even the next of kin. Change of next of kin also matters in this documentation. So these are some of the issues So when you find a retiree said, I've not been paid, I heard that they are paying 2017, 2014, possibly these are some of the missing information that he has not submitted or he has not updated. Because I remember a case of a deceit where when the payment was supposed to be made, he had died in the process and he just posted his money to his bank account. But the bank notified us, but we didn't know who the next of kin were until 2 years later. The next of kin came and said they've been on queue and they have not been paid. But we heard that people in 2016 have been paid while we are in 2014. I said, who owns the account? Is the person alive? Say, no, he has died. I said, you're supposed to notify us of case of death, and then we know that, okay, it's no more the retiree that is going to get the money. Now it's the next of kin. Then the proper documentation for next of kin will be done, and then we pay the money. So in actual sense, they came with all the necessary documentation and paid it. So these are issues. Some of the retiree will just stay put where they are without checking on the PFs, because in the actual sense, the the CPS, that the new pension scheme, is purely between the retiree and the company. Where the government comes in is where we have to pay our 8% contribution, which is during the process of remittances after salary. But the other process is all for the, and for us, the Pension Bureau is to keep track of who have been paid and who have not been paid in our record, so that we can interrogate the PFA if it has not paid on time, because there's penalty on them for not paying on time. And in recently we also put in a strategy that if we send a list of payment with the money attached, within 2 weeks after they receive their various money, they should be able to tell us who they have paid and who they have not paid, so that we know those that are pending. Because sometimes they don't give us those feedback, but we make it mandatory now that they have to give us the feedback, so that we know the amount they have disposed and the amount they're still having with them.
Okay, Prof, yeah, quickly here, benefits and gratuity. Yes. Now, the gratuity is said to be the bulk payment. Yes. And this, what some people would rely on to start another life or, start a new life. It's a problem, with the Pension Bureau that gratuity, people don't get, their gratuity as at time of retirement too.
Yes, for we operate two schemes now, because we have not actually completely left the old scheme because of the people on the pension payroll, as well as pending gratuity. Now, pending gratuity for the old scheme is purely the chunk of the bulk that you are entitled to, which we give it to you. But for the new scheme, there's a certain percentage that the PFA must have with them, which they use as your withdrawal program. That is your monthly pension, which I said that previously, that you need to sit down with your PFAs to discuss what kind of program do you want, and then you make that arrangement with them. So the chunk of the lump sum in CPS is actually based on what the law said. The law said minimum of 25% and the maximum of 50%. Now, your entitlement of lump sum or the pension depends on what was your contribution. In this case, contribution, it depends on how large your salary is or how small your salary is. And then for Kaduna State, within that 25% minimum and 50% minimum, the Kaduna State law said you should be given half of what you take home as your salary before. So if you are taking 15,000, I keep using 15,000 so that it will be the minimum. You're taking 15,000, or let's say 30,000 before. We have minimum wage now. Taking 30,000, your half of your salary at that time we were in service. That means 15,000. Now, if the PFA have to spread that for a maximum or minimum of 10 years as your lifespan, or a maximum of 30 years, then you have to do the calculation. Possibly it's not going to be much. So in their withdrawal plan, they have to consider what you get in pension first and keep it aside. Then whatever remains is actually your lump sum. So sometimes the chunk of your monthly pension plan may take off the whole of the money, while you are left with nothing as lump sum, what you take home. While sometimes the chunk of the lump sum is high that you can do something with it, while the pension also is something that is good enough. So these are some of the issues. The cadre you wear and the salary, the monthly take home then when you were in service determine the chunk of what you take home at the end of the day. Even though we say that government is complementing your contribution with about 8%, as well as the PFA has been mandated to invest what you have contributed in your RSA over time before your retirement, which means you have gains or say return on investment on that. So sometimes the return on the investment or some is very huge, and then complementing with what you have contributed. So this is just the issue. It's not like the old one that we don't have to remove anything. Once we calculate your entitlement, we give you the whole of it. So it's not the same. That's just and you know the old one, the state, irrespective of what your entitlement are, you are put on pension payroll every month. Yeah, so that's the bundle of paying your pension is by the state. But in this case, it is what you contributed that determines your pension at the end of the day. So this is just the major differences.
Okay, I'll still go back to verification. Now, again, when you do that, the sick, the old, and people say it's cumbersome. Of course, you said that all the things that you must get right, to begin to pay benefits. But bringing people from the old, the sick, that they have to be in Kaduna, we have to see them and know that this is right and this is not right. Again, what's the new way of addressing this situation?
Actually, when we were told to do the verification exercise, we tried to see how best can we do it. That considering the sick, they don't have to move from their homes, and so that we can have a application that you can register or do your verification the comfort of your home. But the period that we are given to actually deploy that app was very short for us. And if we need to pay pension within that period of time, because during the verification we have to relax every other thing that we do, so that immediately you are verified, we put that. So we couldn't do that deployment of new app for that. So what we did was to have a schedule where we call various local government and retirees from MDAs based on their bank account name. So the issue of that verification is that a verification was done between 2015 and 2016. It wasn't everybody that has that complete information. So we need to have every pensioner that is on our payroll, the details of that, even the profile, every other document that is relevant to that profile needs to be on that person's platform as well. So that's what we did. So with our schedule, we know that we are not going to have the whole bunch of people in pension bureau. So we had a schedule by local government, by ministry, or by banks as well. And then we also had radio jingles during that period, even before the period, that those that are sick, please, the relatives should just notify us. And then when we are done with the normal healthy people, we can now go on a field trip and take their verification. But you know how it was, because we said until you are verified before you are put back on the payroll, many people were just coming in, and some from hospital, some cannot walk. We have to even request for wheelchairs in the premises from Ministry of Health, so that we have an easy way out. And ambulance was stationed in the pension bureau in case we have any emergency issues. You know how money issue is. Some wants to be put back on payroll easily, so they come from far. But the significant aspect of it was we were also able to consider the insecurity-prone area, like Benungwari, Giwa, the Zone 3 aspect of it. So we sent a team from the bureau to Giwa to do the verification there. We sent a team to Benungwari, and we sent a team, completely, the local government in Zone 3, which sent a team there. They spent about 3 weeks trying to verify. And even in that case, every local government in Zone 3 was also scheduled. The days for its own verification was scheduled. And we also said those who are sick can notify them, and then they will quickly go to the various areas or ward to see those. But you know how things are. Even when the teams were in those insecurity-prone areas, there were still some of them that were still coming down to the pension bureau. I remember a grandson that brought his father, who was 82 years, I was querying him, why did you bring such a person when we already announced that no sick person should be brought to pension bureau? And he said no, that the old man refused to stay put, that he wants to come to the bureau so that he knows that he has done his verification and so that his pension will not be stopped. So most of the consideration we gave then, before I was so hard that we are not going to take anybody that it's not his day. But by the time you see sick people coming in, you just have to relax your this. So we took them. Some it's not their time, it's not their day, you see them flow. So there was a time if we have crowd in pension bureau, I think we got we were criticized, and then we have to reschedule again and give another schedule to various local government and others. But we are happy that we didn't have any casualty of debt or anything in the pension bureau. So we have finished the verification, but we still accommodate those who have not come during the time, one or two at a time. So this is it.
Okay. Well, the program is Perspectives this morning, and attention is on the pension scheme in Kaduna State. With us this morning is the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Pension Bureau, Professor Salamatu Issa. We'll go for a commercial break. Be back with you shortly. Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning, and we're looking at the pension scheme in Kaduna State. And with us, we have the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Pension Bureau, and that's Professor Salamatu Issa, sharing thoughts with us on challenges of the pension scheme in Kaduna, the old and the new, and of course, some things that the pensioner must know. Prof, again, let's look at some people, pension starts 10 and over, years of a year to, be on the pension scheme in the state. For some people, they would not even stay the 35 years, 10 to 35 years. And so what happens, are you having challenges in these areas?
Yes, when we have those that have disengaged or voluntarily retired before the age of 60 or before the length of service of 35 years, usually for the old pension, for the pension scheme, we already have their names and their documentation. All they need to do is for them to wait at the queue until when they are paid. But for those in CPS, usually immediately you are disengaged or you voluntarily retire, you're also supposed to notify your PFA, who gets all the necessary documents on you on ground, and then notify us. If you have your accrual right with us, we also respond by giving them the details of your accrual right. Because for such people, they are actually entitled to their contribution immediately, irrespective that they don't have to be 50 years and so on. For the old scheme, usually when these people are disengaged before those age or length of service, what they are supposed to do is, the law said, until they are 45 years. So if they are not 45 years, they just go, and then if they are entitled to gratuity, we pay them their gratuity. But for pension, they have to, when the law says until they are 45 years, then they come back and commence their pension. But what we have in the pension bureau is such people, when they come back after being 45 years, and we put them on pension payroll, we don't actually know what happened out there, whether they have gotten new employment or not. So the best thing for them is when they are new employed again, they are supposed to come back to the pension bureau, give us the details that they are now employed, so that we can lay them off from the pension payroll until when they retire from their new place of employment. Then they come back again. So we have what we call apportionment. That is what is due to them. We calculate what is due to them on those length of years of service that they put in for Kaduna State. And then the other new place also calculate their own share and then he's given. He enjoyed the two shares. But majority of them, what we found out in this verification exercise, there are some that it was when we were doing the verification exercise, they actually came back and was now telling us that they are employed somewhere. That what are they supposed to do? I said, okay, yes, we are supposed to stop your pension. And you need to give us since when did you start the new job, so that we know whether we pay you pension for so period of time. So that when they come back at the time of their retirement, we have to make this deduction of those months that we pay them without knowing that they are working. But the state itself is actually putting strategy on ground, because someone may retire from a ministry under the state, and then after that disengagement, he gets employed at local government level. So the state is trying the best it can to see how we can actually checkmate those inter-system movement of new employers who were retired or who were disengaged, who voluntarily retired before. And you'll be surprised that during this verification exercise, we caught many people collecting pension at the same time collecting salary, which is not supposed to be. It's the same system. And if we shouldn't take pension money as something that is an incentive or something that is just a package, but it's something that is bound by law. So if retiree wants us to abide by the rules of the game, which is the law, to pay them, they also supposed to abide by the rules of the game of when you retire, the necessary things or mandate that is mandated on you as a retiree to do wisely. So these are some of the critical issues. But we are still tracking those people, and we hope before we track them down, they should be able to come back to the Pension Bureau to notify us that they are working somewhere. If you are working in a private company, we don't have any issue with you. But if you are working in federal ministry or agency or local government or state, we do have issue with you. Because at a point in time, you are supposed to be an employer or you are supposed to be a retiree, but not being the two at the same time. So these are some of the challenges.
No, do we have a lifespan for that? Pension.
Do we?
I'm talking about yes, that you can be on pension list for a particular time, and after some time, or it's stopped. But again, with this discussion, I'm getting to know that even after death, this continues.
No, it doesn't continue after that. Immediately we get notification, we stop you. We stop your pension. Also, with the app we put on place, which we say I'm Alive, which usually you have to go and verify it in the bank after three months. Once it stops you and we didn't see you again, it has stopped. Yes, so it means you don't have issue. And sometimes when the banks themselves are notified of the death of someone, usually the account is frozen. So if we send money, it comes back a failed transaction, and the bank notifies that this person, that is if the Pension Bureau didn't get their notification of that, the bank usually alert us, and then if we have already posted the money, then we tell them to refund the money to the Pension Bureau. So these are some of the issues, because sometimes the person may have done, you ask why should we post money to an account that someone has died. We didn't get the notification first, and then the second one is possibly that person must have done his VBN verification, that's the I'm Alive verification, within 1st to 15th. That's when we took a payroll. So between 1st and 15th before he died. So since he has done that, we still post the money until when the bank say no, he has died. Because the interesting thing is the bank acts quickly before us, because people don't notify us. Sometimes we get notification of death. Someone has died in 2018. We are getting it in 2021. But we already know that since the inflow of the pension has stopped a long time ago, because within that 3-month notice, the I'm Alive app will quickly put you aside. So we'll just put you on I'm Alive suspension. That's what we think. So that when you're not receiving, you have to come back to us and say, I'm not receiving this thing. Then we know that, yes, this person has died or he has not gone for the top printing. So we have a system of checking. But we still want whether Nest of Kings or the retiring themselves to notify us whether someone is sick, he couldn't go for the verification exercise, So that for those who are sick that they couldn't go for verification exercise, we usually give them what we call a special treatment, because we know you can't go out to the bank to do it every 3 months. So it's a special cases, and we treat it as special cases. But for those who are sick or who are dead, automatically the app will just put you aside on suspension, and we know something is wrong. So we don't see you, then we put you aside.
Can successive administration tamper with this arrangement that's on ground now with pensions? I'm looking at, you had the old one, the old scheme. Now it's the new one, and the government changes hands, so to say. Can this tamper with successive administration?
I don't think so, because all pensioners with the verification exercise, all pensioners are on our database. So anybody that comes in, we know the number of pensioners. If we happen to have number of deaths, we record it. It is there, those who have died. And for those who have died, if they are entitled to gratuity, it means they are also on our payroll, on our database. And for the ones in CPS, we have their database, as well as the PFA has their database. The only fear I have is, to be honest with you, this government has the political will to do the right thing. What I mean by right thing, that 8% contribution is actually at the time of payment of salary, that is the government remit to PFAs. Now, if you happen to have a government that does not have that political will to remit that 8%, then it means we will have debt building up on remittances as well. And then also, if you don't have a government that also have put in a strategy in place, just like the last discussion we had when I said 5% of the total wage bill is the one that is put aside to enable us to pay the accrued right. If you have a government that does not have that political way to put that 5% aside, then also it's another issue. So it's just the political will. We have the law backing these things, policies are there, and so on. So there's nothing that will change except when that political will is not there. But right now, regular remittances of that 8% by this government is there. Regular payment of that 5% into the retirement benefit account is there, which we use to pay the accrued right is there. And then the political will of setting aside 200 million every month to pay gratuity to the old pensioners, old retirees in their old pension scheme is there. Local government pay 300 million every month is there. So these are issues. They are not issues that they are debatable, but issue of commitment and political will for government to carry on, to have a conducive environment to pay whatever is due for its citizens. So I think that's the only challenge I foresee.
Okay. Let's come back to you, and let's get to know what your challenges are, what you need to know about your benefits after retirement. And numbers to call to be part of this program: 081 40,000 989. 081 40,000 989 or 070 87 800 989. 070 87 800 989. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guest.
Your name, please?
I am Simon, calling from Kacharo.
Okay, Simon, I say you.
I want to ask you, please. There are people that have retired since 2007. That Malam, they are due for retirement. They have retired them and they are in that new scheme. Up to today, over 3 to 4 years now, they have not paid them their monthly grant. When are they going to get their monthly grant? Did they want these people to die before you start paying them their grant?
No, just leave it at that. Simon, just leave it at that. 2000 and when to now?
2017.
17, and okay, I guess we'll answer that now. Yes.
Okay, Simon, thank you. I can understand your passion for that. And if you have been following our discussion, there's what we said, accrued right. Now, accrued right is debt on government, not just from this government, but previous government. And if you are in the new pension scheme, which is a contributory pension, what it means is that we find out that the money that was being deducted from pensioner salary now, then, when we are inside, it was not remitted to any account. because we have pensioners who did not have RSA, that is the retirement savings account. And some of them, we have their money in what we call the TCF, Transitional Contributory Fund. Once you are able to identify your PFA, we remit that amount into your RSA account. So the debt we are talking about is the debt that made us to have retirees on a queue, and where we treat by we call it first in, first out. We treat them as they are in the queue. So for pensioners that have retired 2017, you will be surprised that we have pensioners who have been there 2013 before, 2014, 2015, which is the queue we are talking about. And up to date, we have pensioners who have retired in 2020 as well. We did not have the money to actually pay everybody once. So we have to follow the queue. We have to take that queue year by year in order to pay. I'm telling you now, we are in some PFAs, we have entered 2018. In some, we are still in 2016. In some, we are in 2017 now. Now, the issue is this. The money we sell is put aside strategically to pay off those debt is what we call the accrual right. And I just finished saying that the commitment of the government is that state government put in 200 million every month and local government put in 300 million every month in order for us to pay those standing gratuity. Now, for 2017, if you remember very well, this was the year we have huge number of retirees because of the disengagement issue. And I bet you, even in that disengagement, using the new pension scheme, we've been able to pay 6-point-something billion to disengage staff. I was surprised when I saw the data when we sort them out. They are up to so out of the 13 billion that we have paid, they were the one that consumed the 6 billion out of it. So it's not that we are not considerate about them, but it's the issue of resources. Let me tell you, if the past government who have saved us, keeping aside money for us to have remitted, to have paid these people off, it would have been an old story now. So this government is trying, because these are past debt that we are paying now. It's not the debt that have accumulated now. So what makes the 2017 retiree to be on queue is because we have not paid the 2015, 2016. So once we come to the 2017, you will see what will happen to that queue as well. And then we go into 2018, 2019. So everyone has to be patient. As far as these are past debt, we have to service it, then it means everyone has to be patient. Thank you.
Okay. Still with your calls. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
Karl Marx on the line.
Sunday. Karl Marx. Okay, Karl Marx.
Yes. Hello?
Let's hear you.
All right. I heard the prof very well. My worry is just simple. This queue she talked about, I think when we know that in the global standard, pension and gratuity is not a privilege, it's a right of every civil servant. That once you retire, this thing should be given to you. And someone should make mention of contributory pension scheme. What that means is that it is my own money that you are giving me. Please, this thing is becoming so cumbersome and difficult. Prior to the coming of this government, every civil servant wants to retire. Every civil servant wants to retire because they know when they retire, everything will be given to them so that they will retire honorably. I can't imagine this, that you serve this state for more than 20, 30 years.
Karl Marx, I'm sure you followed this discussion from the beginning. Well, I'm sure Prof would answer, but from what you're saying and what I've heard, it's no fault of this government. Well, that's Prof.
Yes, Karl Marx, I like that name. I don't know whether you study economics. You see, what we are talking about, the contributory pension was made mandatory from 2017. And we have civil servants that has crossed over to 2017 because they are still serving. But for those that are entered the service 2017, I bet you when it comes to their retirement time, they won't have any issue because we remit their 8% as government portion into their contributory retirement savings account. So there will not be issue for anybody who entered the service in 2017. And for those who were there, who had made contribution before 2017, we've said this is what we call accrual right, which is a debt, I said, on government. The issue is pension, contributing pension started in 2004, but it wasn't made mandatory in Kaduna State. We have some people who have made whose salary were deducted in order for them to be on the scheme. Up to 2008 also, we have people that have been making their contribution before the 2017. Now, this contribution or this deduction that were made from individual salary was not remitted to any account. So this is what we said is the debt that the government inherited from the past government. So, and the people are on queue. We do not have enough resources to say we are settling everybody. And that's why I say we are taking those issue batch by batch. And I bet you we are in 2017. We also enter 2017, sure. From the payment we are going to make next week, we'll be in 2017, some aspect of 2017. And from then onward, we are going to be settling accrual right of 2017 in the new scheme. So this is, if you have a debt that is more than your resources, there's nothing you can do, except you have to strategize on how you are going to pay it. And I know that this government have put in the strategy in order to ensure that payments are made. So everyone, that's why I keep saying, everyone needs to be patient with us because we are following the queue. Please.
Okay. Stay with more calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dodo Thomas Emmanuel.
Dodo, let's hear you.
Yes, good morning, Professor.
Morning.
I am the next of kin to my late mother who retired in 2015 October and died the same year December. And as of January, I was able to notify the pension board of her decease, or her demise rather. And I was instructed to come with some documents, which as at 2017 I was able to provide all the documents. I've been able to also open an estate account. So I was placed in batch, 2016, yes. So I kept on visiting this board. As I am talking to you, I've been there since March this year. They kept on promising, but nothing has come up. That is that for the pension board, Kaduna State Pension Board. Then for the PFA, I don't know if you allow me to mention the name. That is premium pension anyway. As of 2017, I was done with every documentation and notified them of the demise of my mother. I was placed in batch 12 and later batch 14. And when I visited this March 2021, I was told that the money will be paid probably April or May. And behold, as at May 18, the money was paid along with other people who were in the same batch 14. But unfortunately for me, I've not been paid. And I've submitted every document to them. I don't know what you can say about this, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, if they have actually done the verification exercise, which is the second verification update for you, and still you were promised that you were going to be paid, and please let me know. Can you come to the pension bureau, please?
Dodo, okay, I'm sure you're listening. You come to the pension bureau. Okay. All right, still with more calls. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Alabi.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guest, Professor.
Good morning.
I'm Pius. I'm calling you from Malali now. I have all what she said. My elder sister served as a teacher, retired since 2018. Even the end where 300,000 that is supposed to give them, nothing is forthcoming. My own, and look at it. This government is the government that started the contributory pension scheme. She served for almost 30-something years before the initiative. And now she was caught in the initiative. And she just have to pay for that. My own is a simple advice in case of future, because at least some of us will pass through the classroom. If a government want to initiate any program, they should prepare to make sacrifices in the sense that all the whatever they inherited from the past administration, they should prepare to settle it and prepare ahead so that people that are coming should benefit. Because now the engineers are not younger people, are people with a lot of illness. Sicknesses were here and there, and somebody can go and you are losing this money. We are still expected to come and get money to feed.
Okay, Pius, I'm sure we got you on that.
Yeah, he said the sister retired in 2018.
Yes.
Now, if your sister retired 2018, it means she's in the new contributing scheme. And as I said earlier, we are paying. It depends how large the queue of each PFA is. I know that in my previous discussion, I said if you happen to be in premium pension, Leadway, Sigma, and APT, these are the 4 pioneer PFAs that have chunk of the number of retirees on them, and we are taking them gradually. So if she has retired 2018, then it means she has to wait on the queue. I'm sorry to say this, but that is the fact. Because if we are treating 2016, 2017 as using the principle of first in, first out, then she has to be. And if she happened to be sick, we have a platform where we entertain those that are critically sick. We have dealt with such cases, and all they need to do is make a case for us to look at it, submit the necessary document that we may require. For example, if someone has been sick, I would say, okay, let's have the sickness history, not just the doctor's report, because anybody can get doctor's report at any time. But let us have the history of the sickness, when they started going to the hospital, how much they have spent, and how we now look at how much the person has as entitlement. If we have the money available, we do give such people. Usually, it's not that the money is on the ground for sick people, but rather we have what we call on-end salary recovery. When we verify someone and we find out he was given money that after retirement was posted into his account, just like what we are saying, we recovered such money at the point of payment, and these are what we use to settle genuine cases of illness. So we do accommodate that, which we usually approve if we have the money on ground. So please, it's this issue, it's first in, first out principle is actually approved by the House of Assembly. So it's an order given to us. It's not something that we have to. And if you don't follow this particular principle, you may end up having a system that is not organized. Anyone can be selected and pay. But once you know that you are in a particular set of year, we make sure that once we come to that year, everybody on that particular year will be given what is due to them. So please exercise patience with us. The debt that we had with us is not our doing. And I agree with you when you said every government have to carry out its obligation on whatever it inherited. And I said, if you listen to what we said before, that yes, it's a debt that we find ourselves in, and we've put in strategy on how we can actually service this debt. And I mentioned the 5% deduction of every total wage bill that we have every month, as well as what we've compelled the state government and the local government to give every month. So these are strategies. So we are trying the best we can. It's just that we have huge number on our hands, and there's no way you can pay everybody. We all know what we went throughout this year with lack of resources. Even the federal government has pension debt. It's not just state, it's not just local government. So these are issues, please.
Okay, I am just rounding up one last call and then bring it to a close here. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
My name is, I'm Comrade Megari on the line, please.
Comrade Megari, okay, let's hear you.
Yes. I want to seize this opportunity. I was at the screening venue, and actually, I want to seize the opportunity to thank the professor, because she was really up and down, especially for the sick. I happen to be a victim. She was actually helping the sick ones at that screening venue. She never wanted to see them online. Sometimes she goes out herself to select them and take them inside and screen them. Sometimes she sends her boys to do it. So I just want to say thank you to her for what she did.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
comrade.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you. All right, Prof, your last line here now.
Yeah. So, the issue when we're looking at the challenges, it's just the issue of the queue that we have on ground. And I keep saying people should be patient. As far as we are moving, we are getting money that we need to pay pensioners. We paid the pensioners. We can't keep the money. So everyone on the queue needs to be patient. We are moving gradually. For a state government to have paid between 2017 to date to have paid 13 billion in old scheme and 13 billion in new scheme, that's almost 26 billion within this period, which is huge amount of money. So I want everyone to be patient on the queue, as we say on the queue. It's not our doing that someone will be on the queue and he died. Though we still pay the death benefit to the next of kin. But these are just issues. Because when you have a state government that is committed with the political way to do the right thing, I think people just need to go along with that and appreciate what the government is doing. Paying gratuity and paying remitting 8%, and then at the same time paying pensioners every month, which this government has not stopped in doing. I think it's a good enough political way for people to appreciate. If we happen to get resources much more than what we are being given, we still pay. So I'm trying the best I can to make sure that the state government is consistently giving what is due to pensioners in Kaduna State. And so far I know that whenever I put in a press, it is done. So all retirees, next of kin that are on queue, should just be patient with us as a bureau. We do the best we can to make sure everybody that is on the queue is paid.
And that's about the size of it on the program Perspectives this morning. And we're looking at the pension arrangement or scheme in Kaduna State with Professor Salamatu Isa, the Executive Secretary of the Kaduna State Pension Board, sharing experience with us. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll come back with Perspective tomorrow. I'd like to thank my colleague Job Daniel for connecting me with the people this morning, and Wisdom for putting us in the pictures. Good morning.